Here to talk about our spirituality, and I'm highlighting today a spiritualist who brought to the African Americans here in the United States very much something that we needed, and if it wasn't for him doing so, a lot of the things we wouldn't have been made aware of today. Paschal Beverly Randolph was born October the 8th, 1825, and passed July the 29th, 1875. He was an African American medical doctor, occultist, spiritualist, trance medium, and writer. One to bring principles of erotic alchemy to North America. He grew up in New York, a free man of mixed ancestry. His mother, Flora Beverly, passed away, quickly making him a homeless child at 5 years old who lived with relatives that didn't give him the best of care. So in his teen years, he decided to become a sailor and sail the seas, and he traveled the globe, picking up mysticism, occultism, folk magic, and coming into his own spirituality. Like many spiritualists of his era, he lectured in favor of abolition of slavery. After emancipation, he taught literacy to freed slaves in New Orleans. In addition to his work as a trance medium, Randolph trained as a doctor of medicine and published both fictional and instructive books based on theories of health, sexuality, spiritualism, and occultism. He authored more than 50 works on magic and medicine, established an independent publishing company, and was an avid promoter of birth control during a time when it was largely against the law to mention this topic. Having long used the pseudonym the Rosicrucian for the spiritualist and occult writings, Randolph founded the Fraternus Rosicrucianus in 1858, their first lodge in San Francisco in 1861. Interest in sex magic, but his magical sexual theories and techniques formed the basis of much of his teaching of the occult fraternity, the Hermetic Brotherhood of Luxor. It is not clear Randolph himself was ever personally associated with that brotherhood. 1851, Randolph made the acquaintance of Abraham Lincoln. Their friendship was close enough that when Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, Randolph accompanied Lincoln for a funeral procession in a train to Springfield, Illinois. However, Randolph was asked to leave the train when some passengers objected to the presence of an African American in their midst. He influenced Twilight Zone and Alfred Hitchcock. Randolph was a believer in pre-Adamism, that humans existed on earth before biblical Adam. He also knew that himself as a Negro and was married, his first wife, African American. In this quote I'm about to read, he testifies to that. He says, "I do not represent the 3/4 black. I stand here tonight as representative of the African. I do not come as a flatterer of the black man. I want justice for him. Who are we that are not now nothing before the world? The best blood that runs in veins of any people runs in ours. We claim our rights because we are men, fashioned by the hand of Almighty God. There are two questions that come up. The one is the question of social equality, the other political equality. All men, so far as humanity is concerned, are not equal, for the reason that a man is better than another. The only autocracy of mind and morals. The best man stands the highest. The spirit of democracy is the fight of universal rights." This is a poem that Randolph wrote of his birth. I was born in love of a loving mother, and what she felt that I lived, I am the exact living counterpart of her feelings. Intense passions, volcanic fury, her love like high heaven, deeper than death, her agony, terrible as 1,000 racks, her hope and trust fervent, enduring, solid as steel, unbreakable as the lightning which blazed in the sky. Her loneliness, I have been a hermit in all my days, even in the midst of men. In a word, I am the exact expression of that woman, state of body, mind, emotion, soul, longing, spirit, aspirations, when she took in charge the incarnation of the soul of him who now is penning these lines. Flora, his mother, was a woman of extraordinary mental activity and great physical beauty, nervous, high, strung, and willful, a native of Vermont, of mingled Indian, French, English, German, and Royal Madagascar blood. The tawny complexion of both mother and son came from the grandmother, a born queen of the island of Madagascar, of whom she was extraordinarily proud. In his travels, especially the Old World of Africa and Eastern Asia, Randolph was able to interact and became inducted into the mystery systems that were closed off to Europeans. He wowed many with his ability as seer, medium, and deep understanding of esoteric knowledge. His lineage and sincerity allowed Paschal to become accepted and trusted by African and Asian keepers of ancient knowledge who were unwilling to pass the traditions into the hands of European seekers. There was jealousy and resentment towards Randolph because no one else in the Western occult traditions was able to attain the level that he achieved. In short, they needed Randolph to enter the doors because they did not have the master key. Randolph died in Toledo, Ohio at the age of 49 under suspicious circumstances. It was ruled a death by a self-inflicted wound to the head. However, many questioned the coroner's explanation. Several of Randolph's writings were strictly against suicide. Also, the year before his death, Randolph married, and his wife bore a son, Osiris Buddha Randolph, for whom Randolph had great hopes. Curiously, R. Swinburne Clymer, a later supreme master of the fraternity, told everyone that years later, in a deathbed confession, a former friend of Randolph conceded that in a state of jealousy and temporary sanity, he indeed killed Randolph. R. Swinburne Clymer. In conclusion, Paschal Beverly Randolph sacrificed his life to bring back to us spirituality here in America that was beat, raped, and washed from our blood. And with that, it is important that we horn in on our spirituality and realize that we are spiritual beings and melanin is magic. Love, peace, and soul, family.